What's up guys, Damian Keyes here. So this week I have been visited by an old friend, but that old friend is not a person. That old friend is a feeling, and it is a feeling that I have had several times in my career that I want to tell you about because I guarantee it is going to feature heavily in your career. And that feeling is the feeling I call the Jerry Maguire moment. Now I'm sure by this point you've probably heard about my new project where I am looking to find and manage a new band for at least 6 months anywhere in the world, and I'm going through the process of finding acts right now. If you don't know about this, then the link is in the description because you should be a part of this. The whole point of documenting this process is because this is as much about education as it is about me proving something to myself. And the reaction from you guys has been incredible. I have been blown away by how many messages of support, how many of you guys want to get involved, and also a lot of you guys that can't or don't want to get involved but are very excited to watch the process and the journey of this project. However, outside of this process of finding the band, I also want to start bringing in people from the music industry, and this has been slightly more difficult so far. So let me tell you a story. The year was 2001 and I was part of a management team that was managing a music college in the south of England called the Academy of Contemporary Music, and we had built it from 44 students up to around 750 students. However, as we didn't own the college, we felt that we didn't have enough resources to really give the students what they needed, and it was getting to be more and more frustrating. So we thought, myself and my business partner thought, why don't we leave and build the right school, something that we believe in, and build it with the right foundations. We believed at the time that the numbers were too high and we wanted to take a school and stop at 300 students. We wanted to make the best music college in the world, not the biggest music college in the world. Now this feeling was 100% reciprocated from many of the staff and the teachers at this other college. They were saying to us, you guys should do this, this is the right thing to do, this place is getting far too big and we don't have the resources to be able to manage the students' expectations and give the right product. So we did. We left, and there was this Jerry Maguire moment where we stood up and we said, do you know what? We're doing it. We've got the cash in place, we've got the cash flow, and we're going to build the rival school. We're going to build the best college in the entire world. That's our plan. Who is with us? And at that moment, for 6 months leading up to it, with everyone poking, going, you should do this, this is fantastic, what a great thing to do. All of a sudden, you could hear a pin drop. It was like we stood up in the office and went, right, who's in? And everyone looked at their feet and went, ooh, I'm not sure about that. Let's leave it, you go, set it up, and then we'll join you later when it's successful. So we did. We left and we set up BIMM, the Brighton Institute of Modern Music, now the British Institute of Modern Music. And let me tell you what happened the following year. All of those people started knocking at the door. This is looking successful. We want to jump ship and we want to come on board because we now had the leverage. Now then, fast forward nearly 10 years and I was in the same position again. I was disillusioned with where we were at with BIMM, feeling that it had gone far too big. I wasn't able to see the product really taking shape, and we had far too many students who were just leaving, dropping off and going and working in jobs, and I felt like I was letting them down personally, and it was time for a change. So I left, sold my shares in BIMM, and I started a new company, which was a management company. That management company was for commercial bands, and I started approaching musicians, saying I'm going to start a new business where I'm going to find musicians and I'm going to hire those musicians and I'm going to get them paid work. Now at the beginning, I remember approaching musician after musician after musician. And the amount of people who were excited about it but wouldn't sign up immediately was huge. And I was thinking, I don't really understand. I'm trying to give you paid work. But there was nothing there. I didn't have that work. I didn't have those gigs, and I didn't have that business. I had no leverage. What I had was an idea and passion and the fact that I had the belief. It was another Jerry Maguire moment. I'm going to do this, who's with me? And everyone went, oh, I love the idea. That sounds fantastic. But one more time, you go and build it. And if it works, we will come along again. Fast forward 1 year and exactly the same thing happened. The amount of musicians that I had talked to a year previously were knocking on my door saying, you know, we had that conversation. Now's the time for me. Now's the right time for me to jump in and take those gigs that you now have. Now, you've probably had that feeling, whether it's getting musicians into your band or whether it's getting that gig or getting that festival or getting on that radio slot. You've probably been turned down and feeling like you've got the belief and you're thinking, why are people not coming with me on this journey? It's like people don't have the belief because you are the underdog and you don't have the leverage. Effectively, people at this point have written you off. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to quit? Or are you going to build leverage? Build leverage! So I was watching this interview with Sir Paul McCartney, you know, the bloke that blew up after Kanye West featured him on 4 or 5 Seconds. So in 1967, the Beatles were in the studio recording Sgt. Pepper, and they took 5 months to record Sgt. Pepper, which is quite a long time back then. And the newspaper and the headlines were saying the Beatles have dried up. They've not released anything for ages. They're in the studio. They can't think of what to write. They've got writer's block. This is the end of the Beatles. A year earlier, the Beach Boys had released Pet Sounds, which had gone multi-global, and everyone was now saying, these are the new big boys, and the Beatles have lost it. But Paul McCartney was in the studio and he was rubbing his hands together thinking, you just wait for what we are about to drop. A couple of months later, they dropped Sgt. Pepper and it changed the world of music. You see, he had the belief, and while you can't force someone to buy into what you do, what you can do is you can go away and you can get good and you can build leverage and then you can come back and prove people wrong. There's an amazing scene in the film Happy Gilmore, which is the film where Adam Sandler plays an ice hockey player who turns to be a pro golfer because he can hit the ball so far. But the problem is he can't actually play golf. He can just manage to hit the ball further than everyone else. And of course, over the duration of the film and the story, it gets to the point at the end where he's got the big grudge match, which he has to win. But there's a scene in it where he puts the ball and he turns to the bad guy and he goes,
Happy learned how to putt. Uh-oh.
He built the leverage. He made it happen. So what can you do to build the leverage? Well, every song that you write, every gig that you play, every piece of content that you make, every music video that you make, all of this is leverage. It's building up your experience. It's getting you better, and you're one step closer to doing something that gets the attention where people look at you and go, actually, now I'm paying attention. And then they're watching you from outside. And at that point, all you've got to do is get them from outside to inside. You have to remember that people inherently are scared of gambling. And also, they have a fear of change. And nobody wants to lose. So everyone has this fear of losing. But you building the leverage shows them that it's less of a gamble. You're more of a safe pair of hands. When they come on board, they aren't going to look silly should they back you because you aren't 100% in their eyes the wrong horse. So back to this project, what are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to prove people wrong. What we're going to do is we are going to go back. We are going to build leverage. What we're going to do is we're going to find a band that is a diamond in the rough. And then from that point, we are going to polish this diamond. And then after that, we are going to document the entire process of getting gigs, of releasing singles, of going in the studio, of getting the band as tight as possible, of making the most ultimate live show. We're going to write songs especially for the live show. We are going to do that and we're going to document it and we're going to show the music industry that we mean business. And from that point, I think they will come on board with us because they are currently watching from outside. I know this because I'm talking to people about it and I can see them watching going, this is interesting, but they're not quite ready to jump yet. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make them ready to jump. And that is what you have to do. Don't forget, the whole point of this project, it's a learning curve for what you can take away. So every time I'm learning something, I want to pass it on. And this is today's lesson. You need to realize that people are watching. I talk to A&R people all of the time, and they say to me, what bands are hot? You're involved with all these bands. What bands are hot? And I start naming bands and artists. And they go, yeah, I know about them. Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, I've heard about them. What else is new? People are watching you. but at the moment, they're not quite ready to jump ship. And that is not on them, that is on you. Your job is to build the leverage so they feel safe enough to come on board with your journey. So I want you to use that feeling of being the underdog and being written off. I want you to use that because that's the biggest motivator that you can have. And what I also want you to do is I want you to get involved with me. Not only do I want you to send in an application because I'm looking for someone to manage, but if not, I want you to come and be a part of this journey because I promise you it is going to be a big learning curve for all of us. So hit the subscribe button. If you can do me a favor, if you can like this video, it does make a massive difference to the YouTube algorithm. But more importantly, come and be a part of the comments below. Come and be a part of this community and let's build something amazing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.